one of the biggest transfers that we had in the recent weeks. Ignas Brazdeikis from Žalgiris going to Olympiacos. Crazy trip to Cyprus, right? He went to Cyprus with Žalgiris to prepare for the season, and basically he almost ended up taking the flight just not to Kaunas but to Athens.
There was also a Žalgiris social media post, I think on Twitter, maybe also on Instagram, made on Friday, where you can see a short video where Shaq McKissick is talking to Ignas Brazdeikis. Both are representing, their teams on Friday jerseys. Ignas with Žalgiris jersey, Shaq with Olympiacos jersey, and the caption was just small talk before the game. And 24 hours later, that post was like, okay, now maybe it wasn't a small talk after all. I don't imagine these two guys talking about the weather in Cyprus when
I wonder if Žalgiris social media team were aware that something is happening. Because of course, Iggy, McKissick, Žalgiris people, they knew that there are negotiations because they took some time already.
Obviously, these things doesn't happen in 2 hours on Saturday. It has to be a lot of backstory to this. We know things a little bit later with some time delay. So I'm not sure it was social media meant to do something like this, but it ended up in a funny post.
Yeah, so Brazdeikis signed a 3-year deal with Olympiacos. Žalgiris also received a buyout, and there were already some reports, and I can confirm from my sources that the buyout is around 500,000 euros. So it's a pretty significant buyout for Žalgiris, and especially taking into consideration that Brazdeikis' salary was around 750 for this season. It means in theoretical salary cap of Žalgiris, we have 1.2, 1.3 million. But let's share our reactions. What do we think about this move for all sides?
Probably let's look first from Olympiacos' side. I think because they signed a new player, they did not lose the player like Žalgiris did. It wasn't expected for me that they signed Brazdeikis. My first reaction was it kind of says how that Olympiacos were a little bit desperate, I think, in my eyes, to make a signing before the season to buy out a player like Brazdeikis. But it also says, I think, how thin the market was, how a lot of NBA guys right now, if you don't sign, if you are an NBA guy, if you don't sign until the end of September, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go into the training camp, then I'm going to wait, see what happens, and then maybe at the end of October, if I don't get the deal, then I look into my options to explore in Europe or, during the Christmas. So Olympiacos were put in a tough spot to where they would probably prefer some NBA guys to join their team, but there are not a lot of options to do it. And Brazdeikis is the kind of guy, similar to what Keenan Evans was coming to Žalgiris last year. He was a EuroLeague rookie. You expect Brazdeikis and you expected Evans to make a jump in the second season of the EuroLeague. Players usually do that. We saw his progress towards the second part of the season. So I think it was unexpected for me, but I believe that Olympiacos really are betting on Brazdeikis' future, on Brazdeikis' process. So it's a really interesting move. I think in an ideal scenario, they would have signed a even more talented player because I think they had the money, but there were simply no options to do that. So